Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Kendiat kentah hadin ba ka election commission lan ba chief election commissioner kalapan bana ya ka election hakni ka jela Meghalaya kata nadu jing thabot ka banlong haka arpunyo tarik ron phang arjar apulai ba ka jing nyaw ikibot haka artarik leber arjar apulai mentapat ninyo sa ka jing ya keren ba chief electoral officer jong ka jela Meghalaya ba FR Kharpungor hakni ka jing ya kendo ka banlong hakni kamera hapdeng kilak patai kubar bat UCO hakani kajing kendo community ya kajing patai benya nakaliang UCO ya ki kendon penya election khamtam habede bat ki kendon perking election lane model code of conduct kiba ngi kum kinong snong lane nong thuput bat ki nong yele election kidai bambut renti ha mentang inyo ya yo snow ya kajing ya thu jong UCO bat haswa kata nilai ilpa hagi kendon ba kaladon kani ka model code of conduct kala trekam nadu mentah ka sngi ka khat praterik kala lengkot arjar apply bat lengba ka jing trekam jong ka model code of conduct kidon sibon kijing perking bat kata nadu ka jingra Pisa jong kibreu hawaya bayen nangta ka Jingpyndonkam ya kiwei pat ki lat yalap election kata kum kajing ta ya ki poster ki lenti ki sengken kajing ai ya kini ki bangi ong ki advertisement ki babu hakeleng ki caka kata ru kimla su banle klem da yo da ki jingbit ki bapiang nin yo snobu sephang kajing batai benya habidai bat ki breu ki nong thabot ki bala nok kata khamtam kita bangi ong ki senior citizen lane ki nong snong ki ba layau kata khamtam kajing ailat yaki bakin thabot nalayen kata yakitu ki badan kajing duna ki dukhat met kumjuru yakitu ki nongsong snong ki balano kata khamtam yaki bala kenjo propose nam saneng hakaba lengba kajing penya jong election commission kinyo ban Jingpyndonkam da kata ka form khat RD kaba sila ban thabot nalayen nrei lada kim thab nalayen ru kila kalat kadon pak iki bakila hi ban thap dalade saki caka thabut mentang inyo so ya kajing ya keren hapdeng UCO bat kilat patai kubor hangni tung ya sngap yakini kijing patai kubor peniat.
As you would have been witness to the press conference held by the Chief Election Commissioner and the Honourable Commission in the afternoon today, the dates are known in respect of Meghalaya for all the 60 constituencies. The date of issue of the Gazette notification has been notified as on 31st of January 2023. The last date of making nominations is on 7th of February 2023. The date for scrutiny of nominations is on 8th of February 2023. The last date for the withdrawal of the candidatures has been fixed for 10th of February 2023. The date of poll will be on the 27th of February on Monday, and date of counting has been fixed on the 2nd of March, and date before which all the election process should be completed is on 4th of March. As you know, the term of the House of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly will expire on the 15th of March, and in Meghalaya, out of the 60 assembly constituencies, 55 are in fact ST and 5 are in fact general. So that in terms of the notifications and the date for the poll. So I would like to once again share some facts with the friends from the press that the total electorate that will go into the polls this time around is 21,61,129, and males number 10,68,801, females in fact account for 10,92,326. So it's a positive note for our state, being a matrilineal state, that female enrollment is also higher than the male enrollment. And we also have 3,844 service electors. In terms of the net increase over the previous electorate, that means the draft roll, it's a 2.36% increase over the last draft roll, and about 13,848 names were deleted from the electoral rolls on account of reasons such as death or shifting of address and so forth. And also the particulars of about 40,700 electors were also corrected. And in this forthcoming elections, we also have 7,478 who are members of the PWDs, the people with disability. I would like to share with you that against the 2018 figures, in the last elections which we had in 2018, we have registered an 18% increase in terms of the electorate. In terms of absolute numbers, there has been an increase of 4,29,062 electors. That is against 2018 figures. So there is an increase of 18%, and in terms of absolute figures, it's 4,29,062. In terms of the EP ratio, we currently stand at 64.53%. In terms of gender ratio, we are very healthy. It's 1022. In terms of the registration or the enrollment in the 18 to 19 age groups, it is also quite decent. It's 81,443. It's almost about 3.5% or more against the total electorate. In terms of the polling stations, in 2018 we had 3,083 polling stations, and now we have increased to 3,482 polling stations. So there's a jump of about 147 polling stations from the last elections. Then in terms of the assured minimum facilities, as has been indicated in the last in the previous press conference by the Honourable Commission, there will be an endeavour to provide all the assured minimum facilities at all the 60 in all the 60 constituencies and 3482 polling stations. So, and there will be special focus on the rights of the people with disability, whereby in addition to wheelchairs and ramps as well as poll volunteers, there will be efforts to ensure that that there will be accessible elections for them in all ways. I mean, there will be the endeavour to ensure that facilities will be provided to them, and also the new feature of Form 12D, as you would be aware, it was used in the last by-elections also. In fact, we had about 300 people with disability who had exercised the option of this home voting and opting to vote from home in Form 12D through Form 12D. So this time around also, the people with disability, then senior citizens who are 80 plus, they will also be given the option to vote from home, and Form 12D is the form in which they will exercise their options. And right from the date of announcement up to 5 days after the nomination, they will be given an opportunity to exercise their vote from home. And carefully constituted teams from the district election officers and the BLOs, they will be going to the residents of those people with disability or senior citizens above 80 who opt to vote from home, and they will be allowed the option to vote from home, as it was done during the last by-election. So this facility will also be there this time around, and it is something new that was not there in 2018. Apart from that, the standardized voting compartment this time around will also have self-adhesive stickers on 3 sides of the voting compartment depicting the name of the election, the PCAC number and name and PS number and name of the year. Previously it was only on one side. Now this time there will be clear signages on the voting compartment, so that it will be easy for everyone to sort of detect which polling station is numbered with which and polling station details. Apart from that, we will also ensure that the provisions of the Model Code of Conduct will be strictly enforced. There have been a lot of questions and some confusion as to from which date the Model Code of Conduct will be enforced. because the date of notification is January 31st. But as per the rules of the ECI, in terms of the model code of conduct, it will kick in right from the date of announcement. So immediately after the date of once the elections have been duly announced by the Election Commission in New Delhi, the provisions of the model code of conduct will kick in specifically. In what manner it is going to be enforced, I will share with you. So there are different timelines. One standard guideline is that the model code of conduct will be taken to 472 hours during the first 72 hours of the announcement of the election schedule, for ensuring that there is extra vigilance and strict enforcement right up to the close of polls. And this MCC will operate. Number one is on defacement of property. So as per the instructions of the Commission, there are three types of there are three different categories in terms of the defacement of property. One is defacement of government property. So this the district election officers will have to immediately ensure that that they shall be removed within 24 hours from the announcement of the elections. I'm having a video conference with all the DCs also tomorrow, and we will be sharing with them these provisions. Then also the defacement of public property and misuse of public space. This has to be removed within 48 hours. And defacement of private property, this shall be removed within 72 hours. So there are different timelines for the MCC to be complied with by the district authority. Just to clear the confusion, because maybe they may be thinking that everything should be done within 24 hours, but there are a different set of timelines for each different category. Then misuse of official vehicle. Here also there is a total ban of use of the official vehicle by any political party candidate or any other person who is connected with the election, save officials who are performing election-related duties. When I say official, that means it's mainly political personalities. I'm not talking about the members of the bureaucracy, but it's mainly the political dispensation. And then advertisement also at the cost of the public exchequer. That also is another area. We've already shared a list of these instructions with the state government and also with our DCs for their immediate perusal and also to take cognizance. Then relating to the development and construction activities, within 72 hours of the announcement of the elections, the works which are already started, that can go on. Ongoing works can continue as it has been done in the past, but no fresh work can start after the operation of the MCC. Then of course the expenditure monitoring team, the flying squads and the FSTs which have been trained will also immediately be activated and deployed by the field functionaries, especially at the level of the DOs. Then there will also be a complaint monitoring mechanism that is being set up, and also from time to time we will be also disseminating and meeting the press for any fresh instructions, because several instructions also come in while the poll process has been announced. We also get a set of fresh instructions from time to time. So this in brief is the operation of the MCC. Apart from that, we also have something known as webcasting. 50% of the polling stations, last time around in 2018, we only had 10% of the polling stations which were covered by webcasting. Now, from Election Commission, they have increased the coverage by webcasting to 50% of the polling station. So that means about 1,700 polling stations, in excess of 1,700 polling stations, will be covered by webcast. And those that are not able to be covered by webcast will be covered either by static video cameras, or they will have micro observers, or there will be some sort of camera arrangement where in the remaining polling stations where webcast is not possible,
Chief Electoral Officer ke Jilla Meghalaya uba FR Kharkungor ule atho bakidan kombalai pusau tuli ki constituency habaro ko ke Jilla ki badan kampan pengor bat perking bah namar la yok pediang ki kaipot bakini ki lai pusau tuli ki constituency ki dai ki bajor bha ke Jingpyndonkam Pisa ha ke election shaka yengor bar thau an ke Jilla ha ka baka jingthap vote kan long ha ka arpu nyotrik ubnai rempang ar hajar arpu lai haba keren cikilat patai kubor minta ka janmit ka khat pratrik ubnai kelaling kot arajar arpulai u CEO bak har kongor uliathu bakidon kumbah nyo spa sapu nyo tli ki jakat hep vote ki badan jingma bat lai spa khandai pu khandai tli ki jakat hep vote ki bakham jor sheshu ka jingma tang bagani kala abandan jingkala kat kum ke jinglong jingman kat banang yat kisni ke election commission kalap tharu ban perking bha ye ke Jingpyndonkam Pisa ha ka ba anbo ye ki nongpet perman ban nongpet ngor lani ki observer ki bakin thop ya ki general observer ki ba pet ngor kelum ya ke jinglong jingman ki expenditure observer ki ba pet ngor ye ke Jingpynlut pensep bat ki police observer ki ba pet ye ke kompahra hagni ke election u CEO uliat horu ba anbo ye ki pulit pahara hado shis pa arpho perton ki central armed police force nakabenta ke Jingpynlong ya ke election.
In terms of the security, as you know, the state asked for 119 companies, but we have got 120 companies from the election commission, and out of these 120 companies, initially 30 companies had been deployed, and another 10 additional were also given. So we have 40 companies right now who are already here in the state, and more additional companies will be coming now closer to the polls. In terms of then in terms of the then in respect of the observers also, there will be three categories of observers who will be deployed as has been done in the past. So there will be general observers, there will be expenditure observers, and there will be police observers. And the expenditure observers will be concentrating in those districts which are marked as, or those constituencies which are marked as ESCs or expenditure sensitive constituencies. So some expenditure sensitive constituencies have been already identified, and the expenditure observers will be focusing their attention on those ESCs. Then we will continue to have targeted voter education and electoral participation programs. In fact, the upcoming National Voters Day is on the 25th of January, so that will be celebrated all over the state with a focus on the theme I vote for sure, nothing like voting. So the theme for the upcoming NVD as well as for the ensuing general elections is I vote for sure, nothing for, if there's nothing like voting, I vote for sure. So that is the theme, and our teams will continue to provide voter awareness on what we call Super 6, and the six main themes, the six main categories that we are focusing on women, on people with disability, on the youth, on EVM and VVPAT awareness, on ethical voting. So these are the essential areas which we call Super 6, and we will be devoting on these in terms of awareness, in terms of focus. And also this time around we will be having 120 all women managed polling stations, and we will be having youth managed polling stations also in some of the polling in some of the constituencies. We will also have youth managed polling stations just to encourage the participation of youth. Apart from the poll volunteers who have been deployed last time around, they will also be deployed in this coming elections as well, and we will be shortly having a meeting with all the youth associations. Apart from that, we have a number of apps which will be deployed for the upcoming elections. One is the voter helpline app. Then of course the NVSP will always be there. There's a Saksham app. Saksham app is for people with disability. They can make requests for marking them as PWDs. They can make requests for new registration, for correction of the epic details, for requests for a wheelchair, and also it has the accessibility features of for people who are visually or hearing impaired, and these applications are available both on Google Play as well as on the Apple app. We also have the Sea Vigil, which was there last time around, which is an app which the citizens can download, and it is a GIS based technology, and which has a unique feature of this auto location, and it provides correct information which can be relied upon by the flying squad. In case there is some complaint, they can click a photo or a video on this smartphone via this app, and it will provide a timestamped evidentiary proof of the violation of the MCC and also expenditure. So in a sense, it seeks to try to empower the citizen so that the authorities concerned they can take cognizance of the violation. We also have a Know Your Candidate app, which is also there, and which also informs the prospective voters about the criminal antecedents, and it also allows the citizens to browse the candidate's background and to know more about their candidates. Then, of course, closer to the counting, there will be a voter turnout app which will be launched, and also for the candidates, of course, we have the Suvidha app and the Garuda app, which is mainly candidate specific, and of course we have this electronically transmitted postal ballot system also, which will transmit postal ballot through electronic means, and also in terms of EVM and VVPAT, we have sufficient number of EVM and VVPAT at the rate of 150% per constituency, per polling station, and so we and all these and 2 rounds of first level checking have already been done, and we have sufficient stock of in terms of BUs as CUs as well as the VVPAT, and this time around we will be using the M3 variety of EVM VVPAT, and apart from the features that were already there in the previous EVM VVPAT, which means that if there's any attempt to do any manipulation, it will go back to the factory reset mode. Apart from that, the new features that are there in this M3 VVPAT is the feature of mutual authentication amongst all the components. That means if you try to replace one BU with another control unit which has not been paired previously, it will not work. And also they have automated self-diagnostics. These EVM machines, they themselves will give a report about the functionality of the machines, so that we know that they're working perfectly. Then also they have a battery life prediction, in the sense that how much battery is left, so that gives time for the presiding officer and the sector officer to replace the battery in case it is required. So we have also noticed that in terms of malfunctioning in the FLC, in terms of the malfunction, it has come down very less, and our teams are already on the field who are doing EVM and VVPAT awareness for those voters who have not been exposed to EVM and VVPAT. Of course, quite a number of them have voted in EVM and VVPAT in the last round of elections that we had, as recent as the last by-elections. So now our teams are on the field. They are undertaking EVM and VVPAT awareness as well. Apart from that, counting, as you know, will be on March 2nd, and all the strong rooms in all the 7 districts have already been identified, and we have sufficient arrangement being made for all the counting centers at all the counting areas. So all the counting centers in all the districts remain the same. Slight change is there in East Khasi Hills. They will not be in the badminton court, which was there in the last elections, but they will be there next to the basketball court. So that's the only slight change. Otherwise, in terms of the arrangement, it's all the same. A few interesting features about this coming elections is that we'll try to have a few model polling stations which will use eco-friendly material, as we had done in the last Shela by-elections. So we will be having some model eco-friendly polling stations which will use which will not use single use plastic, and which will use material which is eco-friendly. And we will also ensure that that the first time voters, they will be recognized with a certificate and some medals as we did last time. And there will also be the category of the first 5 early voters, those who come to vote very early, they will also be recognized with a medal. So these are some of the measures that we will take to try to encourage early voters as well as young voters. And by and by, we are also thinking of a few other measures, a few other interesting methods in which we can enthuse and also encourage the voters, and we will let you know from time to time as and when we have a press briefing. Yes, so the critical and vulnerable polling station, as I said, it's a vulnerable. it's a dynamic situation, because as of now, the number of critical and vulnerable, in terms of critical, we have about 399. In terms of vulnerable, we have about 747. But it's a dynamic figure. As of now, those are the figures, and they will keep changing, closer to the polls.
Sensitive expenditure constituencies.
Yes.
Why have these been identified as sensitive?
Yeah, so we have 34 ESCs, or expenditure sensitive constituencies. This is where we have some reports that there could be constituencies where there is use of high money power, and so the expenditure observers will also be concentrating on these expenditure sensitive constituencies. So this is across the state, not only in one particular district. So those are the reasons why we have termed them as expenditure sensitive constituencies.
Which are these constituencies?
They are across the state. They are across the state. There are some pockets in Jayanti Hills. There are some pockets within Shillong City. There are some pockets in West Khasi Hills. There are some pockets in the Garhwals area. So there are different pockets across the state which have been identified as ESCs. Yeah. So this is an option which has been given to the senior citizens. If they choose to vote to vote at home by filling in Form 12D, then they will be entitled to vote from home as per the provisions. But if they instead choose to come physically to the polling station, then they can choose to come physically to the polling station without using Form 12D, without the arrangement of having home voting.
But if someone wants to assist such person,
yeah, there is no harm. The choice is theirs. This is another additional measure that the Election Commission has extended to make it easy for senior citizens above 80 and for people with disability. Should they wish to vote from home, then they can exercise that option via 12D. But in case they still want to come physically to a polling station, there is no, there's no bar, but they will lose that option of voting from home.
what if in a family, if there is one old age or two old age person who cannot go to polling booths to cast the vote, but there is somebody to look after them, and that person, he cannot leave those old people or sick people. So, is there any option for such attendant that they can also vote at home?
No, this option is only for it is restricted only to the senior citizen above 80 and to people with disability. And of course, for anyone who has got COVID, of course now we hope that there will not be any COVID, but it was initially, even for those who are COVID infected, it was also eligible for them as well.
So will this also apply to people, elderly people who are unwell, suffering from some sort of disease and family?
This is for senior citizens above 80.
No, I'm talking below, maybe 70.
No, the cutoff is for senior citizens above 80.
Not for 60 plus.
For senior citizens above 80. 80 and above. Usually he came and submitted the complaint to us today. Actually, it was a copy mark to us. The complaint was basically lodged at the office of the district election officer, East Jayanti Hills, and with a copy to us. So tomorrow I'll be having a VC with all the deputy commissioners, and this matter will definitely come up.
So since the MCC is already in place now, you mentioned about the official usage of official vehicles. Can you enlighten further on these ministers who may still use the official vehicles?
See, a minister, it is very clear in the guidelines that he can come to office in his official vehicle, but not for purpose of campaigning. He can come to office in his official vehicle. Here, it says, as per the guidelines, that in terms of the expression official vehicle means and shall include any vehicle used or capable of being used for purpose of transport, whether by mechanical power. Okay, this is the category, but generally the thumb rule is that while a minister can come to office in his official vehicle, but he cannot use it for purpose of campaigning. So in terms of usage for political means, I mean for political purposes, that will not be allowed under the MCC.
But what about escorts, like security personnel?
Yes, so-
escort them while campaigning.
So Z category, I mean if there are certain individuals who are Z category, or they are entitled to certain police protection, so that will continue, but it is not to be misused for political campaign, because some person may have a threat perception. There may be some individuals who are under Z category or under various categories, they may have a threat perception. So that separately from the Department of Home, from the police, they have a list of those who can continue to use because of the security and threat perception angle.
But they started today on the announcement of the poll. Is whether it has to be stopped or it will continue?
If they have started prior to the announcement, that means in the forenoon, then it's okay, because it says very clearly that immediately on announcement, as per the letter of the Election Commission, it says immediately after announcement. In that press note which is shared to you also, I mean on the group, I think I've shared the press note, so there it is written very clearly that immediately on announcement.
From the model code, what about the billboards, massive banners?
Yes.
So they are removed.
They'll be removed, because that comes under defacement. I have just shared with you that three categories. One is totally government, number two is semi-government, number three is private. So what has to be done within 24 hours, what has to be done within 48 hours, what has to be done within 72 hours. So there's a specific protocol.
But will it not go in their expenditure, because billboards are in the name of a party, in the name of a candidate. They spend money on that. So will it not go like advertisements?
Yeah, so there's a specific protocol. So we have shared it with the deputy commissioners. So they will go by the specific protocol. In terms of expenditure, because MCC kicks in now. If they have started to erect after this, then it will be booked into the expenditure. But what they have erected was prior to the MCC.
So they have to be removed.
They have to be as per the laid down protocol. I'm having a meeting with the deputy commissioners tomorrow. We've also shared with this. So we'll be issuing specific instructions. So they already have their teams. Of course, all of them cannot be removed within one day, because it's a huge exercise. But by and by, all of them will be systematically removed.
So they are referring to the
Where there's suspicious transactions, basically the focus is on suspicious transactions 10 lakhs and above, or there is a lot of money going from many accounts into one account, or from many different accounts money is being, so from SLBC and from the Reserve Bank, they are also have in their possession what are the different suspicious transactions that need to be flagged. So those are the categories.
What
In the
will be
past-
the expenditure cap?
So expenditure cap for the assembly elections is 28 lakhs for an MLA. 28 lakhs for the assembly elections. So it was earlier on 20, I think. It was raised to 28 lakhs.
In the
Per
past-
MLA, per MLA.
Yeah, per candidate. Yeah, per candidate he can spend up to 28 lakhs. That's the ceiling. So it was earlier on 20. It was raised to 28 lakhs. I think in first part of 2022.
In the
What
past,
about
they
the
have
political
had,
party?
I'll take one.
What about the political party?
Yeah, for a party, how much?
Party, I don't have the figures, because we do not at the level of the CEO. We are only. Our mandate is restricted to individual candidates and individual returns. So party does not fall within our purview.
if people are using, let's say, use of money power by using all these apps.
So we have my additional CEO who is in charge of expenditure, Mr. Maulong. He will just mention on those.
Yeah, regarding this, again, RBI and SLBC, they're mandated to monitor all this. They have their own mechanism. We do not tell them what to do, because they have their own internal mechanism. So we just got instructions from Election Commission, which we passed on to RBI and SLBC. They have to pass it on down to all the bank and bank branches, and they will monitor all the cashless transactions also.
So coming to advertisements and paid news that Election Commission used to enforce, what if we have a number of private YouTube channels trying to spread maybe wrong information or right information, whatever, and including advertisement? In what way you will monitor, be it the genuine media houses as well as such private YouTube channels?
Yeah, so there is already a mechanism at the district level, which is known as the MCMC team. Media Monitoring Committee team is there, which is headed by the DC. And at the level of the state, we have the state MCMC team, which is headed by additional CEO. And at the appellate level, CEO is there to hear appeals against the decisions of these committees. So these committees are drawn from members who belong to social media and as well as the other members. So they are the first level which will scrutinize all these kind of violations, possible violations that you have just mentioned. Peace and violence-free elections are a top priority for the election and for the Election Commission, as you just heard from the press conference of the Honorable Election Commission also. They have mentioned that the era of violence is now over. Now we have to ensure a violence-free and recall-free elections. So Meghalaya, by and large, in the past also has been largely peaceful, at least in respect of elections. And now, for the first time, 40 companies have come in advance. In the previous years, these companies used to be deployed only close to the poll day. But now 40 companies have already been deployed much prior to the poll day also. So the purpose of having these CAPF forces much prior to the poll day is also to instill confidence, and also the vulnerability marking and the critical marking has already been done, and all steps will be taken to safeguard and to instill confidence in the hearts and minds of the voters.
Was this done because of new political entrant into state who have history of violence in other states?
So this is a general deployment for all the 3 states. Advance deployment of CAPF has been arranged just so that these CAPF forces, they come and they are able to instill confidence in the people. So it is done in all 3 states, not specific to Meghalaya. 2018, the situation was different in the Garhwals because at that time we had some active militancy units. You had active militant presence. But those have since been neutralized. So in terms of peace and security, it's much more peaceful than what it had been then. So, but still, there's no room for complacency. The entire election machinery, especially at the district level election machinery, has been told to give special focus and to ensure that there is no complacency or no slip up, so that the people are able to enforce their franchise, they are able to exercise their franchise in a peaceful manner.
So
During Rajabala,
can I take one each? Yeah.
my one is connected to her.
Yeah.
During Rajabala by poll, we have seen the violence there, and in fact, there were claims and counter claims. FIR were launched, and people were attacked. So, in case such kind of violence happens, what is the thing that after that we have not seen, after poll everything is quite, we have not seen what exactly happened to this case?
So a number of warrants have been issued, a number of them have been executed, and I don't have the exact figures with me now, but the police have got all the records of at which stage of the conviction and the execution of those warrants. As far as I know, quite a few of those warrants that have been issued, they had been disposed of also. So, but this time around, we, as you know, we have police observers as well. Police observers, and apart from general observers, there will be police observers and CAPF. So, in respect of the such incidents, I'm sure there is much greater control now than what had been there in the past.
Sir, another similar question. In 2018 or by-elections, you must have had a number of people who are trying to create trouble during the poll and during the campaign. Have you maintained records of such people? And if you have maintained, what are the instructions or warning that you are going to give to such people in order to prevent such incidents?
So, a list of the troublemongers has already been compiled. I'm not at liberty to share with you since it's a matter of confidentiality, and they will be bound under Section 107. We have a Section 107. So these troublemongers and these history sheeters and these known, miscreants, they have already been identified right at the polling station level, at the macro. at the micro level itself. So these history sheeters and these troublemongers, as and when the need arises, they under Section 107 they will be they will be bound. If they misbehave with or if they cause any tension amongst the electorate.
Which authority is reminding them? Is it from the DC
police,
office or
police. Because the DC and the police together, they have a coordination team, and the police also have a record of all these history sheeters and all these troublemongers. So that exercise is already on, and it's ongoing also, because what was not peaceful before could turn violent today. So it's an evolving situation. So a close watch will be kept on all these elements. If you look at the state context, I think it should be one English daily and one vernacular daily, and it will be on our website as well, on the CO's website and on our social media pages. They will also be published, apart from the popular media.
Since the model code of conduct is in place, then we can indeed organize a house meeting or
House meeting, for large meetings, of course, they take permissions, and for house meetings also, they will be in touch with the local RO, and once they intimate the local RO, the house meetings will take place. That is a democratic right. MCC doesn't mean that you can't campaign. It just means that you have to take permission before campaigning. It doesn't mean that you cannot campaign. In an election, political parties have the right to campaign.
During filing and scrutiny of nomination papers, we have seen a large number of supporters they used to converge together. In such case, what kind of, especially party flags, we used to see that DC office or from your office, they used to restrict in what way they can do such campaign, especially when it comes to flags.
Yeah, so there are laid down protocols now, and I think after COVID, it's much more stricter than what it was in the past also. The number of people that can attend. First of all, a number of people who will go to the room of the RO. How many people can accompany the candidate to go into the room of the RO? Then number two, there is also a restriction as to how many vehicles can accompany the candidate. Then number three, how many people should be part of the convoy. So there are specific laid down protocols. In fact, earlier on, there was more flexibility, but now after COVID has kicked in, there are more restrictions than what is there in the past also. The exact number I will share with you. Because as per the guidelines, they keep on changing, but we'll share with you the exact number. Yeah. There are two ways to look at this. On one side, we have the awareness strategy, where you plant an awareness and tell them that is your vote for sale? This is the worth of your vote? Over the next 5 years, this is the worth of your vote, and then hopefully we hope that some people their consciousness gets triggered and they start refraining from being party to this kind of a cash for vote kind of a situation. On the other side is the regulatory. So we have told the police that they should concentrate on seizures. In the banks, we should flag suspicious transactions. Then the number of FSTs and SSTs, and they should be alert and they should be on the vigil. So it's a two-pronged strategy. One is on the awareness mode, making people aware so that they themselves self-regulate. On the other hand, we also have this regulatory mechanism. But at the end of the day, it is a challenge that will remain. I mean, it's not a challenge that we can, it's not a challenge which we have been able to address yet. But efforts are still ongoing, because at the end of the day, it's a two-way process. I mean, it's not only the election machinery that can tackle it. It's a two-way process.
I saw DC has issued an order that people should not carry money beyond 50,000. What happens if those who are not using for election purposes?
Yeah, so if they have the sufficient proof to show that they're taking it for a genuine purpose, maybe they're doing it for medical reasons, or they have to have some purpose which is authentic, which is genuine. So those kind of reasons they are taking cognizance of. It's only for those kind of transactions where there are no valid reasons, there are no papers, there are no reasons. I mean, those kind of reasons, then they get flagged, because they are of a suspicious nature.
As 60 candidates, is it 60 individually, or there's a different camp for the party overall? And
no, 28 lakhs the gap is there, uniform, whether it's a national party or state party or just newly formed party or unrecognized party. It's 28 lakhs is for the state. I mean, for each individual candidate. It doesn't matter whether he's from a national party or state party or any kind of party.
Now, how do you differentiate now, like the party, there's a candidate, there's a banner and poster war going on, and huge big PR firms are being engaged to carry forward the PR work. Now, that expenditure, where will it go into? Which account will it go into?
So there's an EEM, an expenditure monitoring team, election expenditure monitoring team. It's called an EEM, triple EEM, election expenditure monitoring team, which is headed by the expenditure observer. And at each and every district, there is an identified nodal officer who looks after expenditure along with another member. So they scrutinize the register of the contesting candidate on a frequent basis. So when the candidate lodges his expenses, if there are any suspicious accounts, then it is being flagged.